Hi and welcome to this tutorial about JavaScript and how to detect a click event. Now, when you have a web page, sometimes you have an element, and it could be so cool if you could add a little animation when someone clicks on something. So how do you do that? Let's see. Now, this is a JS fiddle that I prepared for this show. And when you look at it, you can see, if you go to the CSS, we have an animation. It's a very simple one, actually. It will just move something from left one position to left something more position. So from 0 pixels to 200 pixels. In order for the animation to work, we would like to add a class to the square so that it moves after being clicked. So in this case, you can see that we have an animate class. The animate class will actually call the animation. It's done here. You can see that the animation name is example, and here are the keyframes example. So that's the animation that will run. So basically, the animation should run for 4 seconds, and of course you could add more properties to this thing. But when you look at the square in the HTML, you will notice that the animate class is not added. If we add the class like this, and then write animate, and then if we run our show here, you'll see that the animation runs. That's sort of cool, but not what we want, because we want the animation to run whenever the user clicks on the thing here. So how do we do that? Well, in order to do it, we need a little bit of JavaScript. First of all, we will need a function that will fire off after the click. And then we will need an event listener that will actually listen for the click. And we'll start with that part of the code. So in this case, I need to address the square. And as you probably know, we could write something like document gets elements by ID, and then square, and then do something. But there is a shorthand version, so probably you would enjoy very much to write just square. Are you allowed to do this? Yes, this is standard JavaScript. And now we will add an event listener. An event listener is basically just a little thing that is waiting for an event to occur. An event could be a click, it could be a mouse out, mouse over, or something else. There are tons of events. And the event listener works in a way where you have the click or the event. It's written here. And then when the event occurs, some function will fire off. So we have to give that function a name. This is just the standard from W3 schools, but we would like another name. So I just write the animation here. So in this case, the square here will wait for an animation function to fire off. Of course, we then need the animation, so we have to define a function that will fire off, and it should be called the animation. So let's make it let the animation be function. This is one of several ways that you can define a function, And as you see here, the function is ready for rock and roll. Let's see if it works. So console log, a click. Okay, and then semicolon, just to say that the statement has been made. So now I click on run, and now I click on the thing, and here you can see that my message is up here. It says a click. So basically, we know that the event listener works, and I could click several times, and you just see a little number that becomes bigger and bigger according to the number of times that I have clicked my my little square here. But the next step would then be to add the animation. Now, if you want to add an animation, the way to do it in JavaScript is actually to do something like this. You will take your HTML element, then you will add something to the class list, so that is class list add, and then you will add some style from your style sheet. In this case, the style that we want is that one here. It's animate. You can see that this is where we defined that the animation should run. It should run for 4 seconds and so on. You can add more if you want to. If you go to the place on W3 Schools where they teach animations and CSS. But in this case, we will need the animation called animate. And the element you already heard is square. We just use the shorthand form here because it's easier and it's actually a standard, so you can do this. So in this case, if we are lucky, the animation should fire off. Let's see if it does. Yeah. So here you see a very, very cool animation. And of course you could add much more to it. You could let it rotate and so on, depending on the rules that you define here and here. So I have just made an animation where we have a simple movement from one position to another one, but you can add more if you want to. However, when the animation has fired off, you can't click again. See, I tried to click on it, but nothing happens because the animation has actually fired off. So what do we do here? Well, since we cannot add the same class again, nothing is happening when I click. So what you need is sort of a timeout that will wait for the animation to fire off. So in this case, it would be a good idea to add that one to the function that we have up here. So in this case, it will wait for, I think 4 seconds would be better. 4,000, that is 4 milliseconds. So in this case, it will just wait for the animation to run. And as soon as it's the 4 seconds have passed, it will call yet another function. So we actually need a remove class function. So let's call that function remove class. And then we will need to define that class. And as before, we can define the function like this. Let's remove class be function. And then we need the curly brackets. And now what we want is this kind of thing where we have an element and from the class list we want to remove something. In this case, we want to remove the animation. So, and of course we should point to the correct tag, so it's a square here. So, and this thing should just fire off automatically. We can see if it works here. Console log. Remove class running. And if this code works, then first the animate class is added. Then after 4 seconds, the same class is removed, and then the square should be ready for yet another click. Let's see if it works. So, yeah, and our animation runs, and the class is removed, and we cannot click again. Well, why is that? I think this is a greater mystery that we have to solve in a moment. So let's wait out and see what is going on here. One moment. Okay, I'm back again. And after a little bit of headology, I found out that the error was actually quite simple. So let's have a look at the code again. So what happened in my debugging session is this. I accidentally wrote animation here, but actually the class is called animate. So if we write animate here instead, there is actually a class to be removed because there was no class called animation. So by now the code should work. Let's see if it's a fact. Let's try it out. So this is a moment of truth. We need dramatic music here, and let's see. Yeah, it works. And if I can click again, then we have achieved our goal. So let's see. So that was a small introduction to classes, how to add and remove them by JavaScript, and also how to detect a click. If you're creative, you can use this for slideshows, for animations, and a ton of other things. Whatever you can do with classes in your CSS, you can improve by clicks and user interaction by click events. So have joy, and perhaps you should search out the possibilities of events, whatever kind of events exist, because with this little code you can actually achieve very much. So that was my introduction to the click events. Thank you for watching, and if you want to, you can like or subscribe my videos, and as always you can follow my list of instructions from beginning JavaScript. See you later. Bye bye.